There is a question that echoes through the silence of the night. Is the crescent moon in the palm of your hand? It's not a question of astronomy, but of awareness. It asks if you've realized the power that already rests within you. As we step into 2025, the veil between the seen and unseen is thinning, and everything you think, feel, and become will shape the reality before you. The world is shifting, not somewhere out there, but within you. What's coming is not chaos, it's awakening. And if you can learn to see beyond illusion, to feel beyond fear, and to move in rhythm with truth, you'll discover that the crescent moon has always been yours to hold. You see, the crescent moon in the palm of your hand is not a riddle, it's a reminder. It speaks of something you've always carried within you, but rarely acknowledged it. Sight beyond the eyes. The awakening of inner sight is the moment you stop looking outward for validation and start feeling inward for truth. Most people walk through life blind, not because their eyes are closed, but because their perception is clouded. They see the world, but not themselves. They move through experiences, but never awaken to the force moving within them. When you awaken your inner sight, the whole texture of life changes. You begin to notice what was always there, the rhythm behind chaos, the silence beneath noise, the meaning behind every encounter. This awakening is not a miracle that happens to a chosen few. It's a returning to what's already in you. The crescent moon represents potential, the part of your being that has begun to glow, but has not yet reached fullness. 2025 will be the year that potential begins to rise. The year when the veil between your inner world and outer world starts to fade. To awaken is not to see something new, it's to see clearly what has always been. You start to realize that life has been speaking to you through everything, through pain, through stillness, through coincidence, through dreams. Every silence you ignored was teaching you patience. Every obstacle you cursed was sculpting your strength. Every delay was preparing you for a moment that would finally align. You begin to understand that your world has never been against you. It has always been reflecting you. The truth is, inner sight doesn't come from trying to see, it comes from learning to be. When you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with awareness, clarity emerges. You don't chase meaning anymore. Meaning reveals itself. You start to feel a quiet confidence growing inside you. It's not the confidence of knowing every answer, but the peace of knowing that you can handle whatever comes. That is the power of awakening, the power to trust yourself, not because the path is easy, but because you have finally seen that the light was always in your hands. But make no mistake, this awakening isn't comfortable. It's not a calm sunrise, it's a burning away of illusion. To see within is to confront what you've avoided, your fears, your attachments, your masks. It's to realize that much of what you thought was you was just borrowed identity, expectations from others, opinions of the world, memories that no longer define who you are. The moment you begin to see clearly, those illusions fall apart. And when they do, it feels like losing yourself. But in truth, it's finding yourself for the first time. The awakening of inner sight is also a shift from dependence to awareness. You no longer need to be told who you are or where you're going. You begin to feel your direction. You sense what's right and what's not. You stop fighting to control and start aligning with flow. You learn to move when it's time and to wait when it's not. That's what the crescent moon teaches. It doesn't rush to become full. It grows slowly, deliberately, in perfect rhythm with the cosmos. You must learn the same rhythm within yourself. Growth is not in the speed, it's in the stillness between phases. In 2025, many will feel this shift, a stirring deep within their being. They'll sense something changing, something awakening. The material chase will start to feel empty, and the inner call will become louder. People will realize that the answers they've been seeking in the world were always hiding behind their own silence. They'll crave truth more than noise, connection more than validation, presence more than distraction. And in that craving, awakening will begin. You might notice it in small moments, a sudden clarity during solitude, a dream that feels more real than waking life, a synchronicity that feels too perfect to be chance. These are signs that your inner sight is opening. You're tuning into a deeper intelligence, the same intelligence that keeps the planets in orbit and the tides in motion. It's been guiding you all along. You just needed to quiet the mind long enough to hear it. Once you awaken that sight, nothing external can shake you. The opinions of others lose power. The chaos of the world no longer pulls you apart. You begin to walk through life grounded, centered, aware. You see that every person, every challenge, every experience is part of your evolution. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop rushing and start realizing. That is the strength that no one can take from you. The strength of awareness. And that's what the crescent moon truly symbolizes. It's not something above you. It's something within you, rising. The light in your palm is your consciousness awakening, growing, illuminating your path one step at a time. You may not see the full picture yet, but you no longer need to. Because when your inner sight awakens, you understand that life unfolds exactly as it must. You learn to trust the process, to trust yourself, and to trust the unseen rhythm that connects all things. You don't chase the light anymore. You become it. You must understand something very clearly. The world doesn't reward those who push the hardest. It rewards those who move in harmony with its rhythm. Energy will replace effort. That is the shift unfolding in 2025. For so long, people have been taught that to succeed, you must grind endlessly, push against the current, and fight your way to the top. But look at nature. It doesn't struggle, and yet everything gets done. The tree doesn't strain to grow, it simply reaches for the light. The river doesn't fight the mountain, it flows around it. There is no resistance in true power. There is alignment. When you begin to understand this, life starts to change. You stop exhausting yourself with unnecessary struggle. You stop chasing and start allowing. That doesn't mean you stop working. It means your work becomes flow. There's a deep difference between action that is forced and action that is aligned. When you act from force, you drain yourself. When you act from flow, you expand yourself. One is survival, the other is creation. Most people have been conditioned to believe that effort is everything. They've been told, work harder, fight harder, never stop. But that kind of life is unsustainable. It burns the spirit. It traps you in the illusion that control equals power. True power doesn't come from control. It comes from understanding. When you align your energy with your purpose, things begin to move naturally. Doors open without being kicked. Opportunities arrive without being chased. The right people come into your life not because you forced them to, but because your energy called them in. In 2025, this will become clearer than ever. The old ways, those rooted in constant tension and exhaustion, will start to collapse. You'll see that those who thrive will be the ones who have learned to flow, not the ones who fight everything. This doesn't mean being passive, it means being precise. A cat doesn't waste motion, it studies the moment. It senses the energy, and then it moves with focus, grace, and certainty. Every step is deliberate, every action meaningful. That's how life should be lived, not in constant reaction, but in mindful creation. When you learn to move with energy rather than against it, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Life feels lighter. You're no longer swimming upstream. The frustration begins to dissolve, and what's left is a calm confidence. You don't rush, you respond. You don't panic, you perceive. You begin to trust timing. You realize that What's meant for you cannot be forced, and what's not meant for you cannot be held. That understanding frees you from the prison of struggle. This is what the crescent moon in your hand represents. Potential energy, waiting for alignment. The moon doesn't rush to become full. It doesn't force its light, it simply becomes. It grows at its own pace, in rhythm with the cosmic flow. And yet, no matter what, it always becomes whole. That is the law of nature. That is how you must live. Let go of the obsession with doing and start focusing on being. When your being is right, your doing becomes effortless. Think about it. When you've been completely absorbed in something you love, time disappears. You don't feel tired. You don't feel heavy, and yet you accomplish more than when you were forcing yourself through resistance. That is the state of flow. It is the merging of energy and awareness. You're not pushing life forward. You're dancing with it. That's what 2025 will teach many souls, to stop fighting for control and to start trusting the intelligence of the universe. Energy is not about power. It's about presence. You can't channel your energy if you're scattered. You can't feel flow if your mind is divided. You have to be here fully. You have to listen to your intuition, to sense when to move and when to wait. That awareness is what turns chaos into clarity. It's what transforms effort into effortless creation. But remember, moving with energy doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what is necessary, nothing more, nothing less. When you act from alignment, every step carries impact. You waste no motion. You speak only what needs to be said. You take only the actions that matter. This is how great masters move, quietly, efficiently, without struggle, yet with immense force. The world will call it grace, but in truth it is precision born from awareness. This coming year will demand that kind of awareness. It will ask you to be fluid, to adapt, to listen more deeply to the current of your own energy. Because when you move in harmony with that current, you will find that everything begins to unfold perfectly. There is no chaos, only timing. There is no luck, only alignment. And when you master that, you realize that what others call miracles are simply the natural result of being in flow with life itself. Don't confuse motion with progress. Don't confuse exhaustion with effort. You are not meant to force your way forward. You are meant to flow into your purpose. The more you resist, the more you drain your spirit. The more you trust, the more you expand. You are not here to push life. You are here to move with it. That's the power that no obstacle can withstand. Because when you flow, nothing can stop you. The dissolving of false identities will be one of the greatest transformations of 2025. It's not about becoming something new. It's about shedding what you were never meant to be. The truth is, most people live behind layers of expectations, labels, opinions, and fears. They build walls to protect themselves, but in doing so, they imprison themselves. They wear masks so long that they forget the face beneath them. But there comes a moment when those masks start to crack. When the energy of the world no longer supports illusion. That moment is arriving now. The crescent moon in your hand is a mirror. It shows you not what you pretend to be, but what you truly are. And when you finally dare to look into that mirror, something powerful happens. You begin to see that your identity has been shaped not by your essence, but by your conditioning. You've been told who you should be since childhood, how to act, what to believe, what to want. You were given a script and you followed it, but deep down there was always a quiet voice whispering, this is not me. In 2025, that voice will become impossible to ignore. This year will bring truth to the surface. The energy of authenticity is rising, and anything false will start to fall away. You will feel it in your relationships, your work, even your own reflection. Situations that no longer align will crumble. People who drain your energy will drift away. It might feel like loss, but it's not. It's purification. The old you is being stripped away to make room for the real you. It is the dissolving of illusion, the breaking of the shell that kept your light contained. You must understand the false identity is like armor. It gives the illusion of safety, but it also dulls your spirit. It blocks the flow of life. When you define yourself by what the world expects, you stop hearing your own rhythm. You move mechanically, repeating patterns that no longer serve you. But life is not meant to be mechanical. It is meant to be alive, fluid, unpredictable. To live truthfully is to live without the need to hide. That's what this transformation is calling for. To stop performing and start being. It's not easy, because dissolving identity means facing everything you've buried. You'll feel exposed, uncertain, maybe even lost. But this emptiness is not the end. It's the beginning. The moment you stop pretending, you make space for truth to enter. The moment you stop chasing approval, you create room for freedom. The real you doesn't need validation. It doesn't need to fit in. It simply exists. Pure, present, powerful. Many people are afraid of losing their identity because they believe it defines their worth. But your worth is not something that can be earned or taken away. It's not built on achievements, titles, or appearances. It exists because you exist. When you remove everything artificial, what remains is pure consciousness, the same essence that moves through all things. That's who you are beneath the noise. In 2025, the energy of the world will expose this truth more clearly than ever. You'll notice how heavy it feels to keep pretending. You'll notice how exhausting it is to maintain an image. And you'll start craving real connection, the kind that doesn't depend on performance, the kind where you can breathe freely, speak honestly, and exist without filters. This is the shift from illusion to authenticity. Once the false layers dissolve, life begins to move differently. You don't chase what's not meant for you because you finally know who you are. You stop seeking external validation because you feel your own power. You realize that everything you were trying to attract already exists within your frequency. That's when manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you're wishing harder, but because you've stopped pretending to be someone you're not. The universe can only align with truth, not disguise. It takes courage to walk this path. The world often rewards conformity, not authenticity. But if you want to awaken your true power, you must be willing to stand alone for a while. You must be willing to disappoint others to stay loyal to yourself. That is not arrogance, it's integrity, it's self-respect. The moon in your hand doesn't shine for approval. It shines because that's what it was made to do. You must learn to do the same. As the illusions dissolve, you'll start to see people differently too. You'll recognize that everyone is just doing their best to remember who they are beneath their own masks. Compassion will replace judgment. Understanding will replace comparison. You'll begin to live from the inside out, not the outside in. That is true freedom. And when you reach that point, you won't fear change anymore. You'll welcome it because you'll know that every ending is simply another unveiling of your truth. Every moment becomes a chance to align deeper with who you are meant to be. The false must fall so that the real can rise. So when the world around you starts shifting, don't hold on to what's crumbling. Let it go. It's not punishment. It's purification. The dissolving of false identity is not a loss of self, it's a return to self. And when that happens, you won't just see the crescent moon in your hand. You'll realize that you were the light all along. There's a moment in every awakening when you begin to see that not everything that breaks you is meant to destroy you. Some things come into your life not to hurt you, but to free you. Pain, discomfort, uncertainty. These are not curses, they are invitations. They are the universe's way of pulling you closer to your truth. Most people run from them. They numb themselves, distract themselves, pretend they're fine. But all that does is delay transformation. Growth demands confrontation. It demands stillness in the storm, presence in the discomfort. You can't awaken while running from what was meant to open you. In 2025, life will not allow you to stay asleep behind comfort. The energy of the world is shifting in a way that reveals what's real and removes what's false. The illusions that once kept you safe will begin to fall apart, and you will feel it. The relationships that once felt easy may suddenly feel misaligned. The job you thought defined you may start to drain you. The old patterns that used to give you control may no longer work. It will feel like the ground is shaking beneath you, but that's because it is. You are being dismantled to be rebuilt. When this happens, remember that resistance only deepens the suffering. The moment you accept what is, without judgment, without labeling it good or bad, you create space for truth to reveal itself. That's when awakening happens, not through force, but through surrender. The power of surrender is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's understanding that life is not something you dominate, it's something you flow with. The more you let go, the more you discover that what's collapsing was never really you. It was a costume you wore to survive. There's beauty in the breakdown, but only for those who can see beyond the chaos. When you stop fighting change, the pain that once felt unbearable becomes a teacher. Every challenge, every loss, every disappointment carries within it a message. It's trying to show you what no longer belongs. It's trying to point you back home to yourself. The truth is, transformation is rarely comfortable. It often feels like destruction before it feels like renewal. But if you can stay grounded in your awareness, if you can breathe through the chaos, you'll begin to see that every ending carries within it a quiet beginning. It's easy to talk about peace and balance when everything is going your way. But real peace is forged in chaos. It's not something given to you. It's something you cultivate when the world tests your center. That's the essence of true awakening. To remain calm when everything around you demands reaction. To act not out of fear, but out of clarity. That is mastery. That is presence. As this global awakening continues, people will begin to realize that what they once feared losing was never meant to be possessed. You can't hold on to what's meant to evolve. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. That's because the universe doesn't reward attachment, it rewards alignment. When you're aligned with truth, you no longer need to chase. Things naturally flow to you because you've become a clear channel for what's meant for you. The challenge is trusting that process when everything feels uncertain. Trusting that the breakdown is sacred. That's where your faith is tested. Not faith in something external, but faith in yourself, in life, in the deeper intelligence that's guiding you. You may not understand it while you're in the middle of it, but when the dust settles, you'll see how every moment was working for your evolution. You see, the mind wants to control, but the soul seeks freedom, and freedom can only exist in flow. That's why awakening feels like losing control, because the ego is losing its grip. The illusions that once made you feel powerful are dissolving, and the truth is taking their place. It's not about becoming more, it's about becoming real. You stop needing to prove, to impress, to seek validation. You start living simply, honestly, presently, and that simplicity becomes your strength. In stillness, you'll begin to notice a new kind of clarity. The things that used to trigger you lose their power. The situations that once drained you no longer reach you. It's not that life stops challenging you. It's that you've stopped reacting to it. You've learned to observe instead of resist. You've discovered that peace was never something outside. It was the space within you all along. When you reach that state, you realize that awakening is not some grand event. It's 1,000 quiet choices made every day. To stay centered, to stay kind, to stay aware. It's choosing truth over comfort, presence over distraction, love over fear. And slowly, that choice transforms everything. So when the waves come, and they will, don't run, don't hide. Stand still and feel the power that's awakening within you. Let what must fall, fall. Let what must rise, rise. You are not the storm, you are the calm within it. The dissolving of what you were is not the end. It's the beginning of everything you were meant to be. In 2025, life will ask something different from you. It will ask for awareness beyond the surface. You will be called to see not only with your eyes, but with your intuition, your stillness, your deeper knowing. The world is moving faster, distractions are multiplying, and everyone is racing to become something. But the truth is, becoming does not begin with doing. It begins with seeing. Before you act, before you speak, before you decide, you must first learn to see things as they are, not as your fears shape them, not as your desires paint them, but as they truly are. That's what I call inner sight, the ability to perceive without distortion. Most people don't see reality. They see reflections of their own limitations. They see the world through their pain, through their ego, through the noise of their own mind. That's why they keep repeating the same mistakes, running in circles, never realizing that the cage they are trapped in doesn't even have a lock. It's made of their own blindness. The moment you awaken your inner sight, the illusions fall away. You begin to notice how much of what you once called truth was only conditioning, how much of what you once chased never truly mattered. You start to see that peace was never missing. It was only hidden beneath all the layers of unnecessary noise. There's a deep kind of strength that comes from this clarity. You stop reacting to everything that happens to you and start responding from awareness. You don't fight the world anymore. You flow with it. You begin to trust your intuition, not because it's mystical, but because it's real. It's the language of life itself speaking through you. It's the quiet whisper beneath the chaos, the still water beneath the waves. Most people can't hear it because they're too busy trying to be right, too busy proving, too busy chasing. But when you slow down, when you truly listen, you'll realize that the guidance you've been searching for has always been within you. The crescent moon in the palm of your hand is a reminder of this truth. It's a symbol of balance between what is seen and unseen. The visible world, the physical, the tangible, is only a fraction of reality. The invisible, the energy, the thought, the emotion, the intention, that's where creation begins. The unseen shapes the seen. The inner creates the outer. So if you want to change your life in 2025, stop trying to rearrange the external world and start mastering your internal one. When you are aware, truly aware, you become like water. Nothing can confine you, nothing can break you. You adapt, you move, you find a way through every obstacle without losing your essence. This is not softness, it's supreme strength. Water doesn't fight the rock, it wears it down, it doesn't resist, it flows, and in doing so, it transforms everything in its path. That's how awareness works. The more you live in it, the more you transform your reality without effort. The problem is, awareness requires honesty, and honesty can be uncomfortable. It asks you to look at parts of yourself you've been avoiding. It shows you your fears, your insecurities, your patterns. But this is necessary because you cannot change what you refuse to see. Awareness is the mirror that doesn't lie. It reflects exactly what you are, not to shame you, but to free you. The moment you accept what is, transformation begins. The moment you see clearly, you stop being a victim of your own mind. And the world, this fast, chaotic, shifting world, needs more of that kind of clarity. In a time when people are reacting faster than they are thinking, when emotions control decisions, When truth is buried under opinion, the ones who will rise will not be the loudest. They will be the most aware. They will be the ones who see clearly, who move with intention, who understand that peace is power. Awareness sharpens your perception. It gives you the ability to sense the energy of situations before they unfold. You begin to notice when something is no longer right for you, when a path is closing, or when a new one is opening. You no longer move blindly because you trust the quiet signals of your inner compass. And the beauty of this awareness is that it connects you to everything. You start to realize that you are not separate from life. You are life expressing itself through a unique form. The trees, the wind, the stars, the people, all of it moves through the same current of energy. When you see this, fear loses its grip. You don't need to control life anymore because you understand you are not against it, you are part of it. That's when power becomes peace. You don't chase what's already yours, you simply align. You stop asking, what do I need to get? And start asking, what do I need to release to see clearly? Because the truth is, you already hold the crescent moon in your hand. You just have to open your eyes to see it. The moment awareness becomes your way of living, everything changes. Your energy changes, your relationships change, your direction changes. You stop reacting to the noise of the world and start moving with the rhythm of truth. And in that state of clarity, you realize something profound. Life was never happening to you. It was always happening for you and through you. So in this coming year, when the world feels uncertain, return to your awareness. It will be your anchor in the storm, your light in the darkness, your truth when everything else shifts. Because when you can see clearly, you can move freely. And when you move freely, you live fully. In 2025, many will chase meaning in complex ways, scrolling, consuming, overthinking, reaching for something just beyond their grasp. But the truth is, what they are seeking has always been found in simplicity. The deepest truths are not hidden behind layers of philosophy or buried within sacred texts. They're revealed in the quiet moments, in the stillness between breaths, in the rhythm of everyday life. The more we complicate our existence, the further we drift from the essence of being. Life does not ask you to add more. It asks you to let go of what is unnecessary. Spiritual connection is not about how much you know or how many practices you follow. It's about how deeply you can be. When you strip away the noise, when you stop performing for the world, when you no longer need to prove your worth, something powerful awakens within you. It's that quiet awareness that has always been there, waiting. You feel it when you stand under the night sky, when you listen to the wind move through the trees, when you hold still long enough to hear your own heartbeat. That's where connection lies, not in the chase, but in the pause. The world will try to convince you that fulfillment comes from addition, from achieving more, buying more, becoming more. But in reality, fulfillment comes from subtraction, from releasing what no longer serves you. The noise, the comparison, the endless need to appear busy, it all keeps you from hearing the truth that speaks in silence. You see, simplicity isn't weakness, it's refinement. It's the process of returning to the essential, to what truly matters. It's learning to walk lightly in a world that wants you to carry the weight of everything. When you simplify your life, you begin to see clearly. The clutter in your mind fades, and your energy aligns naturally with what's true. You start to realize that you don't need to chase connection. You via connection. Every thought, every breath, every action radiates energy that ripples through everything around you. When your mind is quiet, you feel that current. It's the same current that moves the ocean, that lights the stars, that breathes through all living things. You are not separate from that flow. You are part of it. People often ask, how can I become more spiritual? The answer is simple. Become more aware, not of what's happening outside, but what's happening inside. Watch your thoughts as they rise and fall. Feel your emotions without judgment. Observe your reactions without resistance. The more present you become, the more you connect to the essence of life itself. Spirituality is not something you have to learn. It's something you remember, and simplicity is the bridge that leads you back to that remembrance. In 2025, this will become more important than ever. Technology will evolve, information will multiply, and the world will grow louder. But amidst all that noise, peace will only belong to those who have mastered the art of simplicity, the ability to disconnect, to breathe, to return to the moment. That will be the real strength. The ones who can find stillness in chaos will not be controlled by it. While others drown in distraction, they will float effortlessly, guided by their inner calm. True simplicity doesn't mean abandoning life. It means engaging with it more consciously. It's not about escaping the world, but seeing it without distortion. When you slow down, you notice things that were invisible before. The beauty in ordinary gestures, the rhythm in your breathing, the miracle in being alive. The spiritual isn't found by escaping reality. It's revealed by embracing it with awareness. Every time you simplify, you create space for clarity, for love, for truth. And in that space, energy moves freely again. You begin to hear the guidance that was always there, but drowned out by noise. You begin to sense when something is aligned and when it's not. You stop forcing outcomes and start allowing life to unfold naturally. This is what it means to live in harmony with the universe, to stop fighting its rhythm and start dancing with it. When you are still, when you let go of the excess, you begin to understand that simplicity is not emptiness, it's fullness. The mind that is quiet sees everything more vividly. The heart that is open feels everything more deeply. And the spirit that is free needs nothing to validate its existence. You find joy in the smallest things, a sunrise, a moment of laughter, a deep breath. And that joy doesn't fade because it's not dependent on anything outside you. It comes from presence. The crescent moon is a perfect reflection of this truth. It doesn't try to shine brighter than it should. It simply reflects the light it receives. It doesn't compete with the stars. It exists peacefully among them. There's no effort, only being. And that is the lesson we must remember. Life is not asking you to force light. It's asking you to allow it. The more you simplify, the more you reflect the brilliance that was always there. So as 2025 unfolds, choose simplicity over struggle. Choose stillness over noise. Choose being over becoming. When you release what you don't need, what remains is what's real. And in that simplicity, you'll find the deepest connection of all, not with the world outside, but with the infinite that lives within you. In 2025, many will still chase the idea of manifestation like it's a distant goal, something to reach, something to earn. But the truth is, manifestation isn't about wanting, it's about being. The crescent moon, half in light and half in shadow, reminds us that creation is a process of alignment, not effort. It's about becoming so connected to what you desire that there is no separation between the dream and the dreamer. When you live in that state, the universe doesn't need to be convinced. It simply responds. Most people fail to manifest, not because they lack power, but because they lack alignment. They desire one thing, but live as though they believe another. They speak of abundance while carrying fear. They imagine love while holding resentment. They visualize peace while embodying chaos. The universe doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your energy. It doesn't respond to what you say. You want, it responds to what you are. This is why the shift from wanting to being is everything. When you truly want something, stop chasing it and start becoming it. If you want peace, live peacefully. If you want love, embody love. If you want strength, move with strength. You cannot attract what you are not willing to live as. The more you try to grasp, the more the universe slips away from your hands. But when you stand still, grounded in truth, everything begins to flow toward you naturally. That is the paradox of manifestation. The less you try to control, the more you align with the natural rhythm of creation. Being is not passive, it is power in its purest form. It's the state of complete presence, where action arises from clarity instead of desperation. You begin to move not out of lack, but out of knowing. It's like the stillness of water. Only when it's calm does it reflect the moon clearly. When your mind is restless, filled with want and fear, the reflection of your desires becomes distorted. But when you are still, when you live from alignment, the vision becomes real. So many people confuse wanting with intention. Wanting is noise, intention is direction. Wanting is born from emptiness, intention flows from awareness. The crescent moon doesn't rush to become full. It trusts the process. It waxes and wanes in rhythm with the universe, never doubting that fullness will come. This is how manifestation truly works. You align with the rhythm, not fight against it. You trust the unseen process as much as the visible outcome. Everything you want already exists in potential form, but potential is unlocked through energy, not effort. When you wake up and think, I must make it happen, you separate yourself from the flow of creation. But when you say, I am already it, you dissolve that separation. That's when the shift happens. Not because you forced the universe, but because you finally allowed it to move through you. The more you try to get, the more you reinforce the belief that you don't have. But when you embody what you desire, you step into the vibration of having, and the universe mirrors that state back to you effortlessly. It's like breathing. You don't force the air to enter your lungs, you allow it. Manifestation works the same way. You don't demand, you align, you don't chase, you attract. The moment you stop trying to control, you make space for flow. And in that flow, you realize something profound. You never needed to become anything more. You only needed to remember who you already are. Most of humanity is lost in the illusion of separation. The belief that what they seek is outside of them. But all true creation begins within. The moment you realize that the power you've been searching for is already within your energy, your presence, your being, you stop waiting for signs. You become the sign. You stop searching for miracles. You become the miracle. The crescent moon in your palm was never a symbol of something distant. It was always a reflection of the potential you already hold. You don't need to visualize endlessly, repeat affirmations obsessively, or chase outcomes desperately. You need to live in truth, act with alignment, and trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should. When you stop identifying with lack, lack dissolves. When you stop identifying with struggle, struggle fades. When you stop identifying with limitation, expansion begins. That's the alchemy of being. It transforms everything it touches without force. Every desire you have is a message from the universe, showing you who you are capable of becoming. The moment you align with that version of yourself, everything else falls into place. You attract not because you're trying to, but because you are resonating with that frequency naturally. The people, opportunities, and circumstances begin to appear, not because they were missing before, but because you can finally see them clearly. In 2025, this truth will become undeniable. The old ways of forcing and chasing will fall apart, and the ones who rise will be those who embody presence, who move with intention, who understand that the universe is not outside of them. It is within them. The crescent moon in your hand is not a metaphor for power you need to claim. It's a reminder of power you already have. You don't need to become more, you need to remember more. And when you do, manifestation becomes effortless. Not because life becomes easy, but because you no longer resist it. You are in rhythm with existence, flowing as part of it, not separate from it. The moment you stop trying to grasp the light and simply be the light, everything you once sought finds its way back to you. That is the real secret. Not to ask the universe to give you more, but to live in such a way that the universe recognizes itself in you. So when the nights of 2025 feel uncertain, and the world seems to twist in ways you cannot predict, remember this: the crescent moon is still in your hand. It was never about controlling the stars or forcing destiny. It was about awakening to the truth that you are already part of it all. You don't chase alignment, you wear alignment. You don't seek light, you wear light. Every thought, every breath, every choice carries the power to shape reality. So move with intention, live with awareness, and trust the rhythm of your becoming. Because when you finally see who you truly are, you'll realize you were never reaching for the moon. You've been holding it all along.